Hi, everyone. Dr. Chelsea Byers here. I am a pelvic health expert and energy medicine practitioner. And today I wanted to talk about some strategies to help calm the nervous system. As I record this, we are in the thick of the coronavirus outbreak. And so there's a lot of stress on top of people's normal day-to-day stress. So I've seen both on social media and in my conversations with patients just a lot more anxiety these days. So I wanted to just put it out there, some great strategies and tips that I give to people frequently to help calm themselves and avoid going into the spiral of frustration, fear, anxiety, whatever it may be that is creating a cycle for you. So, um, the first thing that I really teach people, and I think is so important, is learning how to breathe correctly. And then once you learn to breathe correctly, then you can utilize that to help calm the nervous system. So, a good diaphragmatic breath, this is not going to be your normal day to day breath. This is going to be a little bit more of an intentional, some will call it a yoga type breath. So, this one is going to be where the diaphragm has more mobility, right? So most people tend to breathe through their chest. So a lot more of an apical type pattern where the chest rises and falls. But to get good lung air exchange, mobility of the abdominal and pelvic organs, and massage the vagus nerve, we want the diaphragm to shift southward. And in order to do that, the rib cage has to expand and the belly needs to rise just a little bit. So ideally, I encourage people to have their breath pattern be 1/3 from the chest, 1/3 from the ribs, and 1/3 to the abdomen. And with that, because of the rib cage and its formation and articulation with the spine, it's going to allow for a little bit bigger motion to the front than the back as it opens up like an umbrella, but it should still create some movement to the back. So don't forget that piece. I also find that women especially struggle with this because of that inhibitory response or cue rather from wearing bras, where we have this elastic component of the bra that's trying to recoil and against our skin, it then tells our body and our breath pattern to not push out in that area. So sometimes it takes a little bit more focus to get that good rib exchange. So as you take a good diaphragmatic breath, again, you should feel the ribs expand. You're going to feel a little bit rise in the chest, but I want also an expansion into the abdomen. Nothing forceful, nothing uncomfortable here. And you may even notice a little bit of movement down in the pelvis. That's the pelvic floor oftentimes relaxing. Because as the diaphragm shifts southward, the abdominal and pelvic organs shift southward, so the pelvic floor has to relax in order to accommodate for that movement. So, like I said, if you can get that good movement, it's going to allow for a little bit better um, breath pattern. It massages the vagus nerve, which is your rest and digest side of the nervous system, versus the flight or fight or freeze, which is so common when we're in a point of stress, right? Um, so in general, I encourage people to take time in the morning and at night when they're coming into bed and when they're getting out of bed. Take 10 or 15 slow, steady, very intentional breaths so that they can get that good air exchange and kind of set the tone for the day. Practice that pattern so it's a little bit more ingrained and that your body has that muscle memory, right? And then utilizing 5 to 10 breaths intermittently through the day, whether it be after you finish an email, a phone call, especially if it's been a stressful conversation. Utilize your breath to help calm and down regulate that nervous system instead of staying in this heightened sympathetic overdrive state because it's going to have a cascade of effects on our body, our mental health, our physical health, and so on. Um, that kind of leads into, stopping the spiral thought. It's so easy, especially if it's a situation or event that has occurred, that our brain continues to go down that cycle of what ifs or I should have and all these different thoughts, right? So if you catch yourself going into that cascade of thoughts or mindset, then I encourage you to just gently, with no judgment, just try and shift yourself away from that. Redirect it to have a moment of calm. Again, utilizing those breaths will be really helpful, but focus on three things that you can be grateful for. If you can shift away from the thoughts that create stress or anxiety to that of gratitude, it's a higher vibrational frequency. It'll lift that energetic sensation, that vibration. And I'll dive into this a little bit more in another video, but if we think about emotions as energy in motion, then we've really, as humans, just tagged these words such as fear, anxiety, shame, joy, gratitude to these sensations that we feel within. So if we can shift that to a higher vibrational frequency, instead of feeling this anxiety, this fear, this lower vibrational frequency sensation, then we can use that of the gratitude, joy, and love to help raise that vibrational frequency. So, redirecting your thoughts away from that of stress, anxiety, or fear, or whatever emotion it may be that feels yucky, to that of joy, gratitude, love. Make a list. The longer you can stay in that mindset of joy and gratitude and love, the better, because that we focus on is coming to the forefront of our mind and focus. And then grounding yourself. There's many different techniques to help ground yourself. And I feel like grounding is a little bit of a cliche term these days, but really what it means at the end of the day is still just trying to find this calm, this quiet in our body and in our day. So, movement can be a great way for us to release any pent up and stagnant energy, emotions, or anything of that nature, whether it be yoga or it be walking, running, but any sort of movement is going to be great. Stretching, especially stretching of the hamstrings, can be really great because there's a strong connection to the root chakra, um, into the into the sciatic nerve. So really taking time to give your body some attention and some movement. Nothing aggressive, just gentle movement will work. Um, some people do better just to release that big endorphin release, um, to do a little bit more intensive exercise. But in order for the purpose of grounding and calming the nervous system, it doesn't have to be a high intensity interval type training or anything of that nature. Um, I also enjoy, whether it be just pausing and working through a visualization of connecting with Mother Earth or going to lie in the grass. Think of yourself as a tree and that you've got these roots extending from your feet and going down into the earth, into Mother Earth, right? The deeper and the bigger the roots, the stronger the trunk is, right? The stronger the tree is. And that's exactly what we want to do. The ground is steady, it's very stable, right? So if we can pull that stability into us. So again, visualize those roots extending into Mother Earth. And I also love to incorporate the breath pattern with patients with this. So inhaling that strong, stable energy, and then exhaling anything that is not of good or that doesn't benefit that individual, or their stress or their fears or anxiety, whatever we're focusing on. So again, inhale the good, exhale that is not helping us. Um, I find that really, really helpful. And you can do that quite easily, whether it be during a meditation, during a meeting that you find to be kind of getting a little bit nervous about. Anything. You can be it while you're walking, even. So utilize that visualization. Then the other thing that I really enjoy teaching people is connecting with the earth elements. So so many people tend to resonate with different things, right? And so if you think of the four earth elements, air, fire, water, and earth, most of the time there will be one of those that somebody is drawn to that they find more calming. And so I encourage people to kind of step back and think about things that make them feel calm, whether it be sitting at the lake or just running their hands through the water, the sound of rain, or maybe it's truly working in the dirt in the garden. Maybe it's looking at a candle or a fire, right? And then utilize that. If you're feeling stressed or anxious, if you can utilize the element that brings the most calm in your day to day, then that's a great strategy. For some, it might be as simple as having a sound machine that sounds like water or thunder. Maybe it's having a crystal or a stone at hand to be able to hold in your palm when you're feeling stressed or anxious or to feel you need a little bit of support. Maybe it's using a plant and just connecting with the feeling of the leaves, right? Um, there's so many different strategies. Or again, going and lying down on the grass and connecting with Mother Earth. If you can have a candle, if it's a real candle, that would be ideal, or sitting around a bonfire, campfire can be really helpful as well. So, really take the time to utilize that sort of thing. And then gratitude. Again, this kind of goes back to that of using the vibrational frequencies. If we're feeling stressed or anxious, if we can focus on things that we are grateful for, then we're going to tend to be able to shift away from that feeling of yuck and be able to focus on that of whatever brings us a little bit more joy, right? And utilizing it in ways that can really be of benefit. It doesn't have to be that you're grateful for your kids leaving their toys on the floor after you've yelled at them and gotten so frustrated. You don't have to be grateful for that, but maybe grateful for the opportunity to practice patience, right? So much easier said than done. I totally get it. But if we can do that, then that pent up energy and focus can start to be a little bit more productive and a little bit more effective for everybody. Um, and the other strategy that I really like to encourage people to utilize is that of Reiki. So, Reiki is a Japanese um, relaxation method that really helps optimize the healing, the natural healing methods of our body. So if things are not in a coherent, stable function and flowing function, then there's a dysfunction, right? And that's sometimes when those physical symptoms will um, come into form and become a little bit more prominent. So from the Western traditional medicine practice and mindset, yeah, there is physical dysfunction, but you also can't negate that of the energy system too having influence into the physical. So that's where I find it really helpful and really successful strategies to bring those two together. So bringing in the physical therapy techniques that I have and that of Reiki in order to find a little bit better and more coherent nervous system for an individual. So, the great thing about Reiki is that it doesn't have to be a face to face, hands on treatment. It can be a distance based treatment as well and still be very, very effective. So, if you have questions or you want to give me a shout out or other strategies that you use to help calm the nervous system, leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great one, guys.